Greetings, Bella. As you stepped into your abode, the room greeted you with chaos. However, I took the liberty to tidy it up on your behalf. The perplexed query surfaced. Why would I undertake such an endeavor without prior notice? The room, once adorned with your possessions, now stood bare. Astonishment engulfed me until the entrance of my son's wife, reveling in laughter. Her calm demeanor suggested that the upheaval was for the greater good of the household. Puzzled and lacking remorse, she pointed towards the remnants of your belongings in the yard, now engulfed in flames. My gaze followed her direction, revealing a distressing scene. Among the flames, a cherished painting from your late husband adorned the inferno. Despite its newfound cleanliness, the true cost became evident. Staring at your daughter-in-law, malice painted her face as she callously dismissed the significance of her actions. The revelation struck me as she revealed her warped sense of house dynamics, oblivious to the gravity of her transgressions. A chilling realization dawned as she referred to me as a parasite, and the moment demanded a decision. In response, I chose departure. However, solitude was not my only companion in this resolve. The pieces were in place, and at that moment I swore vengeance upon my son's wife. Bella Margaret, turning 62 this year, emerged from the ashes of betrayal. Since the loss of your beloved husband to cancer 2 years ago, life transformed into a solitary journey. Despite the void, you adapted to this new reality. Reminiscing about your late husband, you recalled his final gift, a message foretelling a special delivery. His last words echoed, and the memory fueled your determination. The years spent with him flashed before you, a successful businessman, a loving husband, and a family man. Your son, Stephen, and daughter, Amanda, enriched your life, making each day a labor of love. Yet changes crept in, and the tranquility shattered. Your son's return from a hectic work schedule marked the beginning of a sinister plot. The welcome home was a ruse, orchestrated by your son's wife, Sarah, a woman harboring disdain for you long before marriage. Despite your efforts to greet her warmly, a smirk on her face hinted at a deeper malice. The night ahead promised not to rest but a confrontation, and you resolved to embark on a quest for retribution. The tale of Bella Margaret, a matriarch scorned, had just begun. I had no prior knowledge of the situation, and it struck me as peculiar. Sarah, seemingly uninformed, made herself at home, testing the comfort of our space. Their unexpected 2-day stay became a constant strain on my peace of mind. I hoped for a return to serene daily life, but fate had different plans. About a week later, my son approached me with a solemn request. The bad feeling I had intensified. Sarah, it turned out, wanted to live with us. The news blindsided me, and I questioned the reasoning behind her sudden desire. Supposedly she was worried about me, though I couldn't fathom why she hadn't reached out personally. Inquiring about their relationship, my son hesitated, hinting at an unenthusiastic dynamic. Feeling the weight on my son, I suggested intervening. I called Sarah and directly expressed that living together was not an option. I suspected her previous snooping around our house was a prelude to this proposal. Sarah, excited at the prospect, initially resisted but eventually acquiesced. I thought I had successfully averted a disruptive change, returning to my peaceful routine. However, Sarah remained persistent. One afternoon, she reappeared with a new proposal, suggesting a trial period of living together. Stunned, I weighed the consequences of my decision, knowing that an irreversible choice loomed. As she nonchalantly walked into the house and made herself comfortable, she pitched the idea of a trial cohabitation, assuring that if it didn't work, she would move out. Faced with a difficult choice, I anxiously awaited my son's response. Sarah unapologetically called my son without permission. His apology and disapproval of Sarah's idea left me in a quandary. Though my son was willing to live together, he vehemently opposed Sarah's plan. The unfolding situation hinted at the challenges ahead, and my peaceful daily life hung in the balance. I believed it was a strategic move to encourage her to give up. Stephen's logic suggested that we could temporarily live together and find the right moment to decline. Tentatively, I agreed, fearing that Sarah might disrupt our home. Initially, everything was peaceful, but the dynamics changed when Stephen's work commitments kept him away. Apologies for not helping with house chores became a regular occurrence. Stephen reassured me by taking care of the expenses. However, when he embarked on a long business trip, Sarah's demeanor underwent a dramatic shift. Mocking comments about my cooking abilities surfaced during meals, and she displayed her true colors. The pretense of a harmonious living arrangement vanished as she complained about laundry and refused to contribute to household tasks. Fed up, I decided to inform Stephen about the situation, hoping it would bring some resolution. Sarah, however, proved unyielding, dismissing my concerns and insinuating that snitching wouldn't end well for me. In a fit of frustration, she threw a picture frame at me, containing a photo of my late husband and me. 4 months into our shared living arrangement, I mustered the courage to talk to Stephen about ending it. Surprisingly, he readily agreed without much surprise. Just days before his return, he shared a surprising revelation. Our lives were about to change even more. Amanda, my daughter, recently divorced due to her husband's infidelity, was returning home. Upon Amanda's arrival, I explained the situation, including Sarah's presence. Stephen was set to return soon, and we planned to discuss the matter. Amanda, understanding the circumstances, offered her support. That night, when Sarah encountered Amanda, she inquired about her presence. Amanda, facing a lot of changes, explained her stay. And surprisingly, Sarah seemed to take a liking to her, possibly perceiving Amanda as a sisterly figure. Sarah's behavior took an unexpected turn when my daughter was present, showing an unusual docility. Recognizing this, we considered leveraging it to our advantage, but remained cautious not to reveal our plans. The following day, my son returned home, and as I greeted him, Sarah rudely pushed past me, dismissing my presence with condescension. Her mocking laughter had become a disheartening regularity. Lost in thought, I explained my daughter's return to my son, who seemed distracted. About an hour later, we had a family dinner with Amanda, and for a brief moment, the atmosphere felt serene. However, my son's wife, fueled by alcohol, continued her antagonistic behavior, suggesting that I join in the drinking, despite my aversion to alcohol. Concerned, my daughter intervened and took Sarah to her room, letting us proceed with our planned discussion. Faced with the dilemma of dissolving the living arrangement, my son and I struggled for a solution. Unable to come up with a clear plan, my daughter posed a crucial question. Why did Sarah want to live with us in the first place? Realizing we had never sought a clear reason, we speculated on Sarah's motives. Amanda proposed an unexpected idea, one we hadn't considered. Although it had the potential to burden me, we saw it as a strategic move to break the current stalemate. With my son's approval, we decided to proceed with Amanda's proposal. Over the next week, we covertly made preparations, knowing that discussing it alone with Sarah carried the risk of rejection. The plan was in place, shrouded in secrecy from Stephen's wife. The stage was set for a significant change, and we hoped it would bring an end to the tumultuous living situation we had endured. We deliberated over revisiting the discussion about our living arrangements, the three of us collectively. We decided to set our plan into motion in 2 days. On the eve of our intended action, Sarah interrupted, expressing regret. "I'm sorry, but I need to step out for a bit." Curious about her sudden cheerfulness, I didn't dwell on it, as I anticipated bidding farewell to my current life the following day. My only concern lingered on leaving Stephen's wife alone at home. However, the prospect of reconnecting with a friend overshadowed that worry, causing me to forget about it entirely. Upon my return around 5 p.m., I couldn't locate Stephen's wife. Unexpectedly, she emerged from my room, greeting me with, "Welcome back, Bella. Your room was a mess, so I tidied it up for you." Confused and alarmed, I questioned her presence in my room. Her cryptic response, "You'll see if you look," led me to discover that all my belongings were being incinerated in the yard. Shocked, I stood barefoot, watching as my clothes and possessions turned to ashes. Among them, a painting gifted by my late husband burned. Attempting to make sense of the situation, Stephen's wife nonchalantly explained, "I did it for the good of the house." At that moment, I realized she had forgotten a crucial detail: who truly supported the household. Anger surged through me, and despite her lack of remorse, I confronted her. "What have you done?" In response, she pointed to the flames and callously remarked, "This cleans everything up nicely." Filled with hatred, she failed to comprehend the gravity of her actions. Angrily, she declared, "You're scaring me. Stop joking around." Realizing her reference to a parasite was directed at me, I decided to leave. As I exited the house, I made a vow of revenge on Stephen's wife, swearing at my late husband. Sarah questioned my departure, and I ignored her, focusing on moving to a new place. Arriving at the new house, I felt a mix of excitement and anticipation for a fresh start. An hour later, Stephen and Amanda joined me, surprised by the impressive dwelling. When asked how I secured it, I explained that a friend of my late husband had facilitated the arrangement. We enjoyed a pleasant time together, but the seriousness returned as we discussed informing Sarah of our new address. Anticipating her inevitable visit, we prepared to face her, deciding to ignore her numerous messages and missed calls. Days later, as we relaxed in the new surroundings, Sarah finally visited, looking weary. Peering through the window, we knew it was time to confront her. "You came, Sarah. What's this all about, Bella? What do you mean?" "Why are you residing in such an incredible place?" you inquire. "Well, you're asking me why. Let's head to the living room for now," I suggest. Once assembled, all the players faced each other in the living room. "I had no idea you possessed so much wealth, Bella," comments one. "Well, of course you didn't. I didn't tell you. From now on, we plan to live here together." "Sorry for keeping it a secret," I admit. Suddenly, my son's wife's demeanor completely transformed into a smile. Perhaps she thought she would also get to live in this magnificent house. "Why didn't you say something sooner? Why were you keeping it from me, Stephen?" my son's wife questions. "Mom told me not to say anything about it, like a surprise," Stephen replies, attempting not to laugh. I watch as my son's wife gets the wrong idea and becomes overly excited. The first to break the news is Amanda. "Sarah, I'm sorry, but it's just going to be us living here." Sarah's eyes widen in shock. "There's no place for you in this house," Amanda adds. "Why not? You destroyed my most cherished memory. Was it because you wanted my house or money?" my son's wife accuses. She falls into silence when I reveal that I've been covering all living expenses for them. Her disbelief is evident, but I press on. "It's not a lie. I didn't want to burden Stephen, so I paid for everything." Her expression shifts, and she starts to smile ingratiatingly. She suggests we start over, emphasizing how much better it would be for her to live with us. Finding the situation absurdly amusing, I take her hand and smile sweetly. "You're the parasite. Why don't you take a good look at yourself in the mirror?" I turn to Stephen for support, but even he is not on her side. "I thought I was, but there's no excuse for this level of awfulness," he comments. Frustrated, my son's wife pleads for understanding, but no one in the room supports her, not even her husband. As I watch her face contort with despair, I declare, "No matter how much you beg, this fact won't change, but I will never forgive you for what you did to me." A sense of relief washed over me as a heavy burden lifted from my shoulders. The terms were clear. You must vacate not just this house, but the other one as well. Unfortunately, that house is in my name, and I cannot allow a stranger to reside there. That stranger, sadly, is you. That's the situation. My son's wife erupted into screams, hurling objects in a fit of rage. Urgently, my daughter called the police to quell the chaos. "Stephen, stop her!" I pleaded. He got it, and the situation was brought under control as my son tackled and restrained his wife, Sarah. In the end, Sarah was escorted away by the police, glaring at us as she got into the squad car. At that point, there was nothing more we could do. I didn't feel sympathy. Instead, a sense of serves you right prevailed. Sarah was getting her just desserts for ruthlessly destroying the memories of my husband. After the tumultuous events, I declared that I couldn't live with her anymore. I had faith that my son, Stephen, would handle things well. Amanda and I were there to support him. Subsequently, Stephen and Sarah got divorced, though it wasn't an easy process. Sarah cried and screamed during discussions with lawyers, attempting to garner sympathy. My son dismissed her fierce demeanor outright. I was present and astonished by her pitiful display, urging her to cut it out and keep out of it. She was blamed for the situation, and my son reminded her that she brought it upon herself. I smiled, expressing genuine approval, and made it clear that no amount of begging would change the decision. Sarah stopped complaining since that day, and we finally achieved peace. The guilt eased slightly as I headed towards a new chapter without her. Sarah, now evicted and jobless, moved from one friend's house to another. Despite having become a housewife upon marrying my son, she lacked employment. I wondered about the path life had in store for her. It was okay for us to live here now, and I assured Sarah that she was welcome to stay as long as she liked. The ashes may remain, but not all memories of my husband have disappeared. From that point forward, the three of us were determined to walk toward a brighter future together.